I moved my whole family to Texas to face the best independent wrestlers in the country, and they led me David Hill. How does Gino get the special treatment? He can come out and call his title shots, do whatever the hell he wants. Huh? This is the man of this shit. Kaun has spoken.
Kill Connor!
What's up, YouTube? Today I have a champion, 1/3 of the Ring of Honor 6-man tag team champions, and I hope by the end of this interview he'll let me join Shane Taylor Promotions. This is Kaun. What's up, bro?
Yo, how's it going?
So can I join?
Let's see how this interview goes first, and then we'll figure it out from here.
I like the way you're talking. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and jump into this real quick. So one thing I really like about you is that you're a super versatile wrestler, not just being from an in-ring standpoint, but also in like an all-division territory, because you're 1/3 of the Ring of Honor 6-man tag team champions. You made your name known in SOS and MCW with Moses, and also you're now carving out a new singles run in the Texas scene. What's the division you're the most comfortable being in? 6-man, tag, or maybe singles run?
Oh, dang. Probably 6-man, because we've been doing that the most, like recently, the latest.
Yeah.
That's kind of why I wanted to move to Texas and kind of do my own singles thing. Like when we were at the ROH dojo, training on Joey Mercury, if anyone doesn't know that, he was talking about like getting experiences all over the country, traveling the world. And before ROH, I never had that experience. I was just at MCW as a tag team champion with Moses. And I got to a point where I'm like, kind of need to see how this goes by myself. And I want to hit these indies, and I want to like wrestle on farms, which I've done so far. I've wrestled in like backyards and just had these kind of weird wrestling experiences, because that's how you grow in this business.
Of course. So like, what are some of your goals now being on the Texas scene? You competed for SWE, RCW, and a bunch of other Texas promotions. So is there a championship, a moment, a match that you're actually looking for now being in that territory?
Oh, that's a good question. Honestly, at the moment when I moved here in April, the goal was to wrestle for New Texas Pro, which I just achieved that goal last Saturday. I wrestled Aaron Mercer there.
Nice.
Not successful, but he showed me that he had conviction, and I shook his hand after the match because he was a hell of a fighter. But now, honestly, I'm trying to collect titles. As I'm having championship matches, I might have something kind of big happening in February.
Okay.
I'm just trying to hit these indies and wrestle all over the place. Be one of these Texas pillars that they talk about, Bounty, Keith, Mysterious Q, Gino Medina. Like, I'm trying to be in the ranks of these guys, Chandler Hopkins, like, and Kaun right there.
Oh yeah. Hell yeah. So like a lot of people would think that you're actually like a Maryland guy, meaning that like you came from MCW, but you're actually from Minnesota, not Maryland. So what's the story of you coming from Minnesota to Maryland and then Maryland to Texas? Because you're jumping all around the country right there.
I am. Actually, back in 2015, when I was living in Minneapolis, I was looking at wrestling schools, and then happenstance, my ex at the time got a job in Baltimore. I moved out there 6 months later, found MCW, and then it was cutting my teeth at MCW for about like 2.5 years. Did the ROH dojo thing, and then Baltimore was never home for me. Like, it was a cool city, it was a great place to start my career and like succeed outside of wrestling as well. But then, it wasn't for me. That's why I ended up in Texas.
That's cool. Is there like a reason like you wanted to come to the Texas independent scene? It's like their scene just different from Maryland?
I think with the pandemic, a lot of the East Coast promotions really weren't running. Even MCW wasn't really having shows. And Seth, the South was kind of lenient with COVID restrictions, and I saw Texas was a little hotbed. So I was coming down here for a couple of shows. I know a few people down here, and then I was like, you know what? Let's just do it. Let's just go to San Antonio, and then everything's kind of like 5-6 hour drive, so I can at least hit most of the promotions around me. It's been a great move so far. That was a good decision.
Yeah, I mean, this definitely seemed to pay off. So like, what's your story of like getting into pro wrestling? Like, what's your earliest memory to the point that you decided like, oh, let me actually go be a pro wrestler?
Man. So I feel like most people as a child, I was introduced by my best friend, Akeem Snow at the time. Still my best friend, but like him and my friend Justin came over with like a wrestling tape. And at like 19 years old, D-Generation X. And that was first experience. We were doing Suck It in the living room, like backyard wrestling stuff. And then I was introduced to the Hardy Boys, and that's when I became like a fanatic, to the point of like I had the arm sleeves cut out with the socks, was having matches in the backyard. I like replicated how they have the Trampoline Wrestling Federation in my backyard. I bought a trampoline, I was gonna build a ring and just wrestling non-stop. Then like most people, I think you kind of grow out of it. So I was still into it in high school, and people were kind of not really dealing with wrestling, so it was my own little thing. College happened. Didn't really mess with wrestling too much, but then when I went to grad school out in California, I like make these decisions in my life, and I was like, man, I really loved wrestling as a kid. Like, I wonder what's happening with it now. The moment I got back into it, The Shield debuted,
Oh, okay.
Holy shit. Who is the Shield? I was like, who is CM Punk?
Yeah.
And I got right back into it. I think a few years later, the Seth Rollins WWE 24 documentary came out, and that day, goosebumps when he had like the, like the Desire videos, the montages of people come back from injuries.
Yeah.
That kind of like montage in this documentary, and I got goosebumps. And I talked to my ex at the time, and I was like, I have to do it. I have to become a wrestler. Like I did college, I did grad school. I'm not really fulfilled in my life. And like, I need to bless these people with my talents. Like I need to become a wrestler. And I made it happen. Within a year, I was at MCW.
Yeah, easily. Cause like you got to look for it and everything. So like, what would you describe your character in the ring?
I saw someone ask that. It's crazy. Like I loved Jeff Hardy growing up, but I'd rather not jump off the top rope and do swanton bombs.
Yeah.
I'm definitely more of like a brawler. I'm trying to get a little bit more into the technical aspect because of my family lineage. Back in Cameroon, they do more of like a traditional style wrestling.
Yeah.
So I want to like impose my will on people, toss bodies around, suplexes, like bury people's faces into the mat, and then they kick out, and I gotta just start throwing fists and start kicking them.
Yeah, I've seen a couple of those like highlight videos of that. Actually, you're using the pedigree in one of those matches. So like, is that something like you're gonna keep using from now on? Like, is the pedigree like one of your moves now?
I think so. I've seen, like a lot of moves get exposed, and a lot of people use different finishes all the time.
Yeah.
No one really touches the pedigree. Like Seth Rollins did it because he got kind of handed down by Triple H. There might be people on the indies doing it, but I just haven't known or seen them do it.
Yeah.
And I was doing kind of the rock bottom of like the pedigree, like that's a finish, and people know that as a finish. And
yeah,
I think anyone like me who looks like me has ever done it. So I'm gonna take that and state that claim.
Yeah, definitely. Because I've never seen a guy on the independent scene ever hit a pedigree outside of like, again, Rollins or like Triple H. So it's definitely weird to see like, oh, I forgot. Yeah, that is a wrestling move. I haven't seen Triple H do that in a couple of years. Shit, yeah. It's pretty cool.
You know, like people and they're like, my head hurts. I'm like,
oh. Oh well, they got in business for it. But so like, what was like one of your earliest memories of training MCW? Because I remember like the first time I ever saw you, I was meeting Mark Henry at an MCW show. He was doing an autograph signing, and like I turned to kind of just walk out like the little autograph sign. Here's like this big tatted up dreadlock dude, kind of like showing me the exit. I'm like, I said hello, and I think I asked you like if you're a wrestler, and you said you were training. I'm like, yeah, you look like a wrestler. So like, what was like your first ever like or your earliest memory of training with MCW?
Even prior to training, I went there like twice to check out the school, and I remember Nat telling me, the promo coach there, was like, you're like one of the only people that literally sat here for 4 hours straight and just watched all our practice, because I was just so enamored by what was happening.
Yeah.
Then I remember I got there, RJ Meyer, the Bruiser, rest in peace, him and Dean Guttridge were the coaches, and like within 2 days, like hitting the ropes, taking bumps. I remember Dean telling me, like, you seem like a natural at this. Well, I was going to the trampoline park practicing bumping because I watched videos of how to bump. So I was like smacking the mat.
Yeah.
And then by the next week, there were some people that would show up early to like prep for WWE tryouts. So like Renee Michelle was there. I don't know, like Ken Dixon was there, Joe Keys was there. People would show up early and do extra cardio, and I just kind of started showing up. He's like, oh, you want to be a machine, right? RJ would say that. Like, yeah, I want to be a machine. And then you just do extra cardio for an hour. Then finally Ashanti the Adonis, Tootie Miles got there, and him and I were just like two peas in the pod, man. We would just beat the hell out of each other, and because we both had the same ambitions with this, and like we really want to be really good at this and get signed and be some of the best professional wrestlers ever. So him and I would just hang out and watch wrestling, talk wrestling, and go train, do these birthday parties, and just plan our matches and just try to get as best we could.
Yeah, so like, what would you say for people that are like trying to train to be a pro wrestler? Because like I went to MCW for a little bit, and you were like one of the guys that were helping out. And I remember like someone like messed up, and you made him get out of the ring and do burpees. I was like, oh my goodness, I don't want to screw up. I hate burpees, bro. So like, what was like your advice for like people that want to get into the business and want to be a wrestler?
Man, really make sure you want to do this. I think with the coaches that I've had experiences with, people that I've worked with, really make sure you have goals and ambitions to do this. I get it if you want to sign up and just see what it feels like to be a professional wrestler, like take the bumps, hit the ropes, and maybe have some birthday party matches or matches at the practice. But if you're not trying to be good in this business and like protect this business, please stay on the other side of the guardrail, because I'm here to really state my claim and make sure people have their conviction, have their purpose in this business, and keep it the way that it is. Like, I think I have this old school mentality. I kind of agree with like Mark Henry and Bully Ray. No, this is a tough business for tough son of bitches. Like,
oh yeah,
people are changing that, and that's fine. We're adapting to that, but that's why I'm really hard when I coach with people. Like, hey, if you're not doing this correctly, then you can get the hell out of the ring, because I'm here to try to be great at this thing, and I'm trying to perfect myself. And if you're not taking it seriously, you don't need to be here. So.
Yeah, no, I can tell. I saw so many people do burpees. I'm just standing there, I'm like, man, that's okay. I'm watching him, like at the end of the line, I'm like, I can't screw up, because like he's gonna make me do burpees. He's watching. I'm like, all right.
Man, like people say it takes 10,000 hours, right, to be perfect at something. I get that. But I've experienced so many people at practices where like you're having a coaching moment and people are not paying attention. Yeah. If you're like 15th in line and you mess up the drill, then I'm gonna be hot. Yeah. So like you gotta take these mental reps and really tune in, especially at MCW. You train twice a week for 4 hours at a time. Yeah. Like just give your 8 hours to this business right here, and then go do whatever the hell you want after you leave.
Oh yeah, definitely. Like, so when you first started off in wrestling, your name wasn't just Kaun, it was Bishop Kaun. So what led to like cutting off that first name and just being Kaun after?
Well, we were at the dojo with Mr. Mercury, Moses, and I. We were getting ready to be like TV ready, and we were talking about our debut. And he didn't hate the name, but I think that there was like this old school mentality of like, it always compares to like Legion of Doom, like Hawk and you're like, hey, like there's badass tag teams, but like the single word name kind of hits. So we had like a list of names. I kind of even created like a PowerPoint presentation to like repitch our branding. And he's like, you know what, I like Kaun. Kaun is part of like my last name. And then he's like, I like Moses. Like Moses and Kaun sounds right. It kind of just rolls off the tongue. I was like, all right, well, there's no going back from here. I also hope people watch this interview, because there's so many people that get my name wrong or spell it wrong or say it wrong. And it's the Kaun, Kaun, period.
So what do people say? Like, what are they saying instead of Kaun?
My friend Nigel, who did commentary one time, called me Kaun. I've seen Jasper Kaun. Yeah, that's my first name, but that's not my wrestling name. And if you watch Ring of Honor, you'll see that they've never called me that.
Yeah.
Some people go back to Bishop Kaun, which is fine. I get it, but I haven't used that name in 3 years. So like my trunks literally just say Kaun. My boots say Kaun. I have my stuff branded as Kaun, but yet they're still messing it up.
Oh man, no, that really sucks. Hopefully anyone watches this, like, don't get his name wrong. He'll make you do burpees. Literally.
I'll find you.
Trust me, they're not fun. So one thing I also want to talk about is that when you were younger, before you got into wrestling, you actually had a spinal injury. So what was like the mental capacity of like trying to get back into sports, because you weren't really supposed to like go back to playing sports, or just getting back into wrestling because you went from not being able to have to play sports to a business where you were throwing your back against the mat?
That was honestly really crazy. So like a lot of people know, but whatever. It's called spondylolisthesis, it's slippage of the spine. Yeah. When I was 17 playing football, I like fell on my butt during the game playing football, and I fractured my L5 vertebrae, which just like sounds bad, but it wasn't horrible. I didn't even know what happened until like a few days later. My back and hamstrings got so tight, I really couldn't walk. And I had to go to the doctor and I had to get MRIs done. They're like, oh yeah, you fractured this bone, and my disc was actually compressed. So the disc between my L5S was compressed, and then my spine slid forward. And I was like pretty solidified there. But I met with the chiropractor, met with doctors, and they're like, yeah, don't play sports ever again. Like you might have trouble running when you're older or playing on concrete. Like they just like ruined my life at 17. Like basically you're just gonna be like crippled and you're not gonna be able to do anything.
Yeah.
So I let that happen like for a year and a half. I was like hella depressed and I stopped working out, didn't play sports. And I kind of just got to a point again, I'm like, there's no way this can be it. Like I'm so young, this can't be it. So fortunately with like internet stuff's coming around, I was Googling the spinal condition. I found Facebook groups. I found like little groups of people who have the thing, but they were also like athletes. And actually a lot of like NFL linemen have this, a lot of gymnasts have it, who has like a lot of extension of the spine, power lifters, and they're perfectly fine. They don't know they have it until they have like a little fracture. So I saw like 3 or 4 doctors. I saw some of the actually work with the Philadelphia Eagles. I was like, hey, I want to be a professional wrestler. I'm going to do it. But like, if you tell me this is okay, now I'm really going to do it. And she's like, hey, you can get in a car accident and feel some like tingling sensation in your leg, maybe be paralyzed, or you could be a wrestler. She's like, it's kind of up to you. You're the one who's managing your health. So got as strong as I possibly could. It's also why I work out like crazy, because I need to protect myself. And I just signed up, and I haven't had any like bad experiences yet. Like I really can't lay on the floor flat. That's probably like the worst thing. I just can't lay on flat, hard surfaces and I get really stiff, but I've been good so far. So fingers crossed it continues.
So like we went from that to like eventually signing with Ring of Honor and now being part of Shane Taylor Promotions. So like what's the lead up from being in MCW, training, getting to Ring of Honor, and then also joining Shane Taylor Promotions, and now you have won the championships?
Yeah. Man, we've just been in a really fortunate situation, honestly. Joey Mercury came back. He was at MCW for a bit, training with some of the veteran guys. And then we were hearing about this ROH dojo thing. So he was trying to create like his NXT developmental system at ROH, honestly.
Yeah.
Pulled a couple people over there. Then Moses and I got to have a tryout with Adonis. And we all got brought into the dojo. Eventually he left, but then it was like Will Ferrar, Jonathan Gresham. Then we have like guest coaches come in, Lethal, Taven, and we're just in the dojo for like a year and a half, grinding 4 to 5 days a week, training like 5 to 6 hours a day. Dak Draper, Quinn McKay, Brian Johnson, like Primal Fury, we were in there nonstop in this like gray tan walls, no windows, you couldn't see outside. One, two rings, you were just like, what time is it? We're just bumping for no reason. Like, fortunately, they wanted to sign a group of us and kind of like push us as this developmental group and get us TV, so we could be like the new stars of ROH, which we've all kind of became. With that, we kind of had some like starts with Moses and I as a tag team. We're coming in and destroying teams, and then like, hey, we're gonna put you with Shane Taylor. And then Bully Ring was also in the ring. It's like, we're gonna just see what this dynamic looks like. Well, I think Bully ended up leaving, and then Shane was like, hey, I want to start this promotion. What do you guys think about it? Like, well, we don't have anything else going on. Also, you're having a killer ROH TV title run. I think it'd be a great idea to like move forward. And great decision, because longest reigning ROH six-man champs to this point, and depending on what happens to ROH next year, maybe the greatest six-man unit. So,
oh yeah. No, definitely. I mean, I definitely think you can say greatest easily. But addressing that, like I know with the Ring of Honor announced a controversy leading up to like what could happen after Final Battle. There's a lot of fans retweeting right now of you guys going to AEW, getting signed over there, beating up the Super Click, etc. So what's your guys' thoughts on seeing you guys like, oh, Shane Taylor Promotions should go to AEW?
I mean, I think we're open to any opportunity. And if that opportunity presents itself, then why the hell not? The hot promotion right now. They claim to be the best six-man. I don't have to see them having trios titles. I know they had these belts before, Young Bucks didn't, Adam Cole, but we beat their reign. So they want the smoke, like Montoya Ford says. I mean, they can bring it.
Hell yeah, I'm gonna clip that right there. But like the last thing I want to do, I want to get to some fan questions. A lot of people were asking a lot of different questions. Even Quinn McKay had a pretty interesting one as well. But I want to go ahead and jump into him real quick. So what did your team with STP? I think the question is trying to ask, why did you guys join Shane Taylor Promotions is what she's trying to say.
I think Moses and I just saw what he was doing at ROH, and we had the same beliefs and mindset going forward of like what we wanted to accomplish in Ring of Honor and in this business. Like you don't see, now you see it a little bit more, but like you don't see a lot of strong Black men being presented in a particular way. Other, the typical gimmicks. And I think us and like New Day have blown those ideas out of the water. Like you can look how you look and present yourself in a way and be representable and be inspiration to young people. Like that's what matters most to me.
So JSL asked a couple of different questions, but the main one that I really liked was, what's your inspiration outside of wrestling and what's your wrestling goals, long-term and short-term?
Inspirations outside of wrestling. I did go to grad school for graphic design. My actual goal was to be the creative director for WWE magazine, because I used to have a subscription to that magazine, and I was like, how cool would it be to make those magazines or like make the pay-per-view graphics? Like that was my goal. So I do still do design work. I think getting back into that one day, being an art director, creative director, that'd be awesome. Short-term goal for wrestling was honestly just to wrestle. I'm happy that I'm here. Long-term goal, I want to start a pedigree for specifically Cameroonian wrestlers. I know that you have like the Samoan dynasty, but I know of only one other Cameroonian wrestler. And like, that'd be dope if we could start this like own dynasty of African-born wrestlers. That'd be awesome to me.
Of course. I like how you use pedigree there too, because I use that move a lot. But someone also asked, they seem to be a really big fan of you. They say, I love his entire look. Sorry, he's been asked this a million times. Have you been planning on adding any more tattoos? Were you ever worried about how they would turn out? And do you plan on, again, adding on to more tattoos?
Definitely plan on getting more. I've got my first tattoo when I was 18. I've been averaging at least 1 or 2 a year since then. So I've been kind of cup filled up.
Nice.
I've had only one bad experience where someone tattooed me and it wasn't what I expected it to be. I eventually got it covered up, which is fine. But no, everything's worked out pretty well. Like I kind of just go in with an idea and I find artists that I want to support and who are pretty cool people and then just let them create their art on me.
Nice. She also added as well, his abs are insane. Does he even do cheat days? If so, what's your favorite treat?
I more so do cheat meals within my days. So I like had some pecan pie earlier at Burgers yesterday. And living in Texas, man, Mexican food, chips and queso. But like I like wings, I like lemon pepper wings. I kind of eat what I want, but that's also why I train like a madman. I work out like every day for like probably like an hour and a half, but I probably look like a psychopath. But it's because I want to have pizza at the end of my day.
Black Wrestling Alliance says, is STP actually trying to stay together, or do they have their own plans of going their separate ways? Big companies called on you guys. So essentially, if like different big companies call for you guys, would you guys split up or still stay together?
I think the goal is to stick together, definitely. But I would say that if someone got an opportunity somewhere, why would I not be supportive of my brothers to go get the opportunity? Like we still have that STP brand, like we're still friends, we still get along, but if someone wants to sign one person, then who am I to stop them? Like, nah, go get that money and like, we'll support you, shit.
Tyler said, are you going to dye your beard at any point?
Probably not. I did dye these, but my hair's been growing out a little bit. This is also probably like influence from Seth Rollins, but man, trying to find good hairstylists out here, it could be a pain sometimes.
Oh man. So someone also did ask, like, how long did it take for you to grow out your dreadlocks?
It's been just over 7 years. I'm actually gonna probably cut off like 4 or 5 inches. It's kind of getting heavy. I really do want to cut my hair, but I get that will probably like ruin my entire look. So
it'll be different.
Just deal with this for a while.
Definitely. And like the last question I have is actually from Quinn McKay. How can you claim to like weird practical effects in movies and then try to tell me 1985 high fantasy classic legend starring Tom Cruise and incomparable Tim Curry is trash? Like, make it make sense, Kaun.
So look, we had this conversation about practical effects. I love practical effects. I'm a huge fan of like Dark Crystal, OG horror movies where they like make the sets like the original Friday the 13th, Labyrinth, stuff like that. I really appreciate. I remember watching this movie during quarantine for the ROH bubble. That and Nightbreed just wasn't my thing, you know. I liked like the never-ending story. I liked stuff like that. I liked weird sci-fi movies like Alien. I don't really care for Legend. So we're probably gonna stop being friends now. That's fine.
Oh man, oh jeez, I'm sorry to just end your friendship like that. My bad.
It's all good.
Okay. Well, where can they find you next on social media or at wrestling shows if they haven't already, bought tickets or follow you on social media?
I'm at Kaun on Instagram and Twitter. For next wrestling show, we got WrestleCade coming up in North Carolina, I believe in 2 weeks. I'll be at Palais Pro in Pittsburgh this Saturday. Dog Pound Championship Wrestling in a few weeks in San Antonio. If you just follow my social media, you'll see where I'm at. I'll be on TV somewhere.
Hell yeah, hell yeah. And I guess my last question is, since the interview's wrapped itself up, can I join Shane Taylor Promotions?
Look, I've been a fan of this interview. This has actually been a great interview. I'm a fan. I'm gonna give you a thumbs up, but you're gonna also have to ask the boys. I don't know. There's a little static happening right now. I think we're breaking up.
No, you're crumbling something.
I'm a fan of yours, so I mean, I'll give you the go, but I'm not the one that makes the decisions. This is a group decision here. So as long as they give you the thumbs up as well, you have my support. I'll take that if they don't want to have you, but I want you on the team.
You know what? That's one down, a couple more to go. Saw O'Shea the other day, and he gave me no response. So you know what? I'll take this. I'll take it. Thank you guys for watching the video. Thank you, Kaun, for being here. And make sure to like, comment, share, and always subscribe. And we're out.
We going up like 1,000. I'm a flex just like a MuscleManMalcolm. We going up like 1,000. I'm a flex just like a MuscleManMalcolm. When it just like 1, 2, 3. If you like the channel, this will squeeze. If you like the channel, this will squeeze. If you like the channel, this will squeeze.